Alright, the video has started. So before we begin, I just want to thank you for your time and your participation in this interview.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate all your time and your feedback on this. But before we begin, just tell me how your week's going.
It's good.
You got any plans coming up?
Well, I'm working.
You're working. What do you do?
So I have a real estate license and I'm also a nurse
Oh, okay. Where do you work at?
at Northern Colorado Rehab Hospital.
Okay, right on. So, what do you like about your job? Do you prefer, like you say, you have a real estate license and you do nursing? Is there one you prefer more, or?
So I have had my real estate license for several years, and I would say I have a heart for service, and so sometimes, I guess I would say with real estate, you don't build your relationships as closely as you do with nursing. Um, I'm not gonna lie, nursing is hard work, and I don't think I realized how hard they work until I actually started doing it. But the relationships you build with the people is amazing, and to help them get better is an amazing feeling. But with real estate, you're helping people realize their life goals, and with real estate, you're helping people set up financially for the future. So, and I really like real estate because I like to see the homes and to get ideas on what people like, and being able to have that contract knowledge and help people with the potentially the biggest purchase of their life is a big deal. It's just sometimes a little bit lonely because you don't, mostly everything is online now, and so that's where nursing is different, is that you have more one on one with the patients, and with real estate, it's more online. So they're both different, but I like them both.
How long have you been doing nursing?
I am a brand new baby nurse.
Oh,
So I just graduated with my RN and passed my boards in January.
awesome. You really like it? Was there so you do rehab? Is there you really like that kind of nursing, or is there a different sector you would go into?
So honestly, as a brand new nurse, I just wanted a place where I could practice my skills in on mostly stable patients, because I didn't want to be a brand new nurse and work in the ICU, or in areas where I'm still learning and the patients are in critical condition. So I work in an acute rehab, so the patients um, are a little more acute, but not, um, they're not like imminently dying or you're trying to save their lives. Even though it's an acute rehab, they're ill, they're sick, but they're not in critical condition. So as a new nurse, I wanted to work somewhere where, I could practice my skills and get better without having someone's critical acuity in the back of my mind the whole time.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You don't want that crazy pressure, especially the ER, and you have a gunshot victim, and you're like, "Whoa, it's my first day."
Yeah, that was exactly right.
So outside of work, what do you like to do?
So I'm pretty outdoorsy, so I like to, we go on hikes, we go fishing, we go on walks. Colorado has a lot of outdoor things to offer, so we like doing those things. We have 35 acres in Livermore, so we like to go hiking up there and have, sometimes you can't really have barbecues or stuff, but just be up there and be in the mountains. I like shopping and decorating my home.
Have you looked for stuff to bring up to your property up in Livermore?
I someday we hope to build a house. Before we build a house, it would be nice to have some sort of shelter. So I don't know, maybe a gazebo. We did build a picnic table, and that's up there. But it would be nice to have some sort of shelter. We did try and go up 4th of July, I think it was last year, and it like started to rain and it got real windy all of a sudden, and we had our little picnic table and an umbrella, but it wasn't really doing it. So we need some more shelter.
Yeah. So, but you said you mentioned you like shopping, so tell me a little bit about your shopping habits. Like, what do you like to shop for, and how do you shop?
So this last year, I have purchased a lot of things from Amazon. Since the pandemic, I really realized how convenient it is just to have your stuff delivered to you because my fiance was very nervous about the pandemic when it first started, and so we would have the groceries delivered, and then, of course, you bleach them before you put them away, and so I really discovered how convenient it is. And plus, since I've been a student, nursing student, I didn't really have a lot of time to go out and shop. So I have a lot of things delivered. And this last year, it has been a lot of things with regard to decorating the home, like ceiling fans and new trash cans and wallpaper. And so I just been buying a lot of things to try and decorate
It
the
sounds like
house.
you're remodeling maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right on. So how often do you so you would say Amazon is probably your primary like deliverer,
Yes,
and how often are you getting
several times a week.
sometimes? How does your fiance feel about that?
I think he just I think he just assumes if he sees the Amazon truck in our neighborhood that it's coming to our house.
That's so funny. What would you say is like the like average value of these packages you're getting?
um, I wouldn't say they're horribly expensive, with the exception of, some, like I did order some wooden trash can um, covers. I don't know, really, or cabinets, but those come in, giant boxes, and those were a couple $100. But I think for the most part, I would say 50 or less.
You ever have concerns about like porch piracy or package theft, anything along those lines?
Well, I know when the pandemic especially first started, my fiance would say that we should leave the packages outside for a couple of days for the germs. And I will say that that made me a little bit nervous just because I felt, and I did see like on the Nextdoor app, there were lots of people complaining that their packages were stolen, or that there were cars riding around behind the Amazon trucks waiting for deliveries. And then you see that on the news often, you know, about, like people with the video cameras, they would, show that someone took their packages. And so I think it started to be a concern for me.
If you don't mind sharing, like, could you explain like where you live? Like, you don't have to give me like an address, but like the area where you live.
So we live close to LaPorte,
Oh, okay.
so northern, Fort Collins.
Okay. So you have you ever experienced package theft yourself?
No,
No.
not that I know about. But I will say that I have so many packages delivered, sometimes I wonder if I would miss it.
That's so funny. So, you said before the pandemic you used to leave your packages out there for a
Uh-huh.
few days, and your attitude now has changed in regards to that.
Well, so in front of my house, I have these two giant bushes, and they cover the porch pretty well. So I really haven't worried about it, but this summer I plan on removing those bushes just because they really kind of impede the entryway. And I think for the same reason they hide the packages pretty well, they also could potentially hide a person. And if I'm coming home late at night after a nursing shift, feel like that could be a concern.
Yeah.
Because our neighborhood isn't very well lit, those kinds of things. And so, not only for aesthetics, but also for safety, I think I want to remove those bushes, which then would remove our barrier for the packages also. So
Yeah.
that's a concern to
That makes sense. So you seem very like kind of, how do I put this? Like you're always wanting to improve stuff and you're very concerned about the aesthetic of your house and you're always like changing things. So, how do you what is your criteria? Like how do you decide to purchase
me. So I don't know, I guess I have like a theme that I'm going for in the house, and, I try and look at magazines or different online things, and then I just kind of go with a theme that goes with what I'm looking for, and color is important.
things? Do you pay attention to things such as like is price a huge issue for you or like material, other things like that?
Um, I would say material is more important than price. Like, I want the textures to go well together. I want the colors to go well together. Um, I would say I would say price is a consideration, but not a huge.
Okay. Now my next question, so we touch a little bit about package theft, and from what I understand, you haven't experienced it yourself, but you're like a little concerned just leaving your packages out in the open. Um, what about like if you have friends or family over? Do you ever like have issues with them like leaving stuff behind? And
I don't. I wouldn't say necessarily I have problems with people leaving stuff behind, but I will say, being a nursing student, I've loaned out some things before, and then they have returned them, or sometimes I've sold things off the internet before. And but as far as family and them like leaving stuff, not really.
so when you have people bringing stuff back to you because you loan stuff out, what's the method for getting stuff back to you?
Typically, I just have them leave it on the porch, especially since it was, because of the pandemic and everybody now, this contactless stuff, is such a big thing. Typically, I just have them leave it on the porch. And if I donate, or if I am going to let somebody borrow something, I just do the same thing. I just leave it on the porch and wait for them to pick it up. Or, I've even gone to other people's homes, like I had one friend, a nursing student, and we went, and um, I just dropped it on her porch. So I think porch porches are a good place to leave stuff usually.
Do you ever have concerns like when you're leaving something or someone's leaving something for you, concerns about it, like like theft in the similar way that the packages, your feelings towards the packages, leaving them on the porch?
Um, so I will say I've let people borrow textbooks that are several $100s, and uh, I think that made me nervous, because textbooks are a lot of money, and one book, several $100s is kind of a big deal, and so um, I would say that has made me nervous a little bit more. Usually I ask them, either take a picture or let me know when they picked it up or let me know when they dropped it off, just to try and mitigate the risk. I mean, not that anybody wants a pharmacology textbook, but sometimes I feel like people take things that are uh, really of no value to them. They just take it for no reason, really, other than just to take it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I know all about how expensive textbooks can be. Oh,
Yeah.
that's like no use to me anymore. Like several semesters outside of it, I'm still like, this was an expensive book. I hate to lose
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So what about items like how do you store like outdoor items?
Like what kind of outdoor items?
Like for me, I have like right behind you, I have like the little citronella candles that keep the mosquitoes away, or like tarps, or like grilling materials.
So right now I would say we use like totes, like giant totes from, that you can get from Walmart or Home Depot or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they have lids, just the plastic totes.
Do you leave those outside?
So we have a storage room in the house that isn't very organized, and so when we took down the Christmas decorations and Halloween decorations this year, we had to store them in the totes, and yes, the totes are outside. Unfortunately,
Are there other outdoor items you wish you could store besides examples I gave off?
no. I mean, for I guess I would say for right now, our we're still working on our yard, so I don't think there's anything. Maybe the little barbecue grill. It's just a little one, but maybe the cushions for the chairs would be a good thing to store if I was gonna try and think of anything.
Mm-hmm. You said you're working on your yard, so do you have like a bunch of tools and stuff you're using?
Um, so not really. We have shovels and rakes and all those things, but usually we put them in the garage.
Okay, that makes sense.
We don't really have small. I don't know. I just started, so that could change, but I just
Okay. So tell me a little bit about like your home life. Like, what do you like to do when you're at
So I like to uh, clean and decorate and organize and move things around and find places for everything. I like to be home. I like to, so being in nursing school, I haven't had the opportunity really, so I'm at a place where I really need to find organization for my home. That's kind of where I'm at.
Do you ever like? It sounds like you're crazy busy and you're always working on stuff. Do you ever take some time to just lounge around, chill out?
um, Probably more than I should, and that's why my stuff doesn't get done. Because I really do want more things organized, but being in school and being so busy, sometimes I just don't have the energy to do those things. So yeah, I lounge around.
Makes sense. What about like sitting outside on your porch or your patio? Do you often do that?
So last summer I bought a table and some chairs with the intention of doing that. So yes, I would like to do that
But
more.
you don't currently do it.
Well, because it's winter, but in the summer I'm hoping to do that more. Yes.
Okay. And so when it came to purchasing that furniture, what were some things that stood out to you that made you want to buy that
So I wanted it to be big enough that, 5 people could sit around it pretty comfortably. And I wanted it to be sturdy, um, so that, you could eat on it or whatever, put your drinks on it or whatever, and you didn't feel like it was going to fall down. Um, Color was, style, materials, I would say, are important. I wasn't actually the one who bought it. My fiance did, and so price was a concern for him. Um, Comfort, I would say, is it comfortable to sit on?
what kind of material? I guess since you weren't the one that bought it, what kind of materials do you think were important to your fiance and why he purchased that particular
So he wanted something that he thought we could take also inside.
set? Okay.
but we never did that. And because it's kind of heavy, so it's made out of metal, and it has tiles on the table that are kind of like slate, and um, also like the height of the table was important because I didn't want to sit out there and feel like it was too high or too low. I wanted it to be comfortable. So yeah, it's made out of metal with slate, and the chairs are metal.
Okay. And what about, so you said that price was important for him. So is he like the purchaser in your guys' relationship? Like when it comes to the big purchases, that's his job?
So previous to now, I was going to school, and so I mean, I had some real estate income, but I usually tried to save that for school expenses. So I wasn't making, I would say, a regular income. So I tried to be frugal, in that respect. And so usually, if there was something that was a large purchase, he would buy it. Then I don't think that will probably continue to be the case now that I'm working, but that was the case last
Okay. And what would you say, specifically for porch furniture, is a good price? Like if it has everything you want, it's a good size. It's made out of, it sounds like, durable materials, and it's able to sit a lot of people. Like, what's a comfortable price range for you?
summer. I think I would try and stay less than
Okay.
just depending on what it was. Like I do hope to buy another set. So like the one that I bought last summer, what is more like a dining room type table. And so honestly, I would like to have something a little more like this, where it's like a little table and it's more something like that. You know, I like that you have I like that we have the big table that seats a lot of people and it has an umbrella and all those things. I like that. But I don't always want to be at the dinner table. So I would like to have something that's a little more relaxed. If that makes sense.
Like cozy?
Yeah, kind of like that. Maybe a fire pit, something where you kind of sit around and just relax and you don't feel like you're sitting at the dinner
I love a fire pit. So, what size is your porch?
table. So in the back, we just have a small um, slab next to the garage. But um, I wouldn't say that I necessarily have to have something that would sit on the porch. We have a pretty good sized yard, and so I think it's perfectly reasonable to have a little outdoor space, even if it's sitting on the grass. But it's a small porch. I don't really know the size. Not It's not even as big as like you would think a bedroom is. If you imagined like the size of a bedroom, 11 by 13 or something like this, it's not that big.
Mm-hmm.
Like the table we have now, it pretty much fits like the table, and you
Okay.
can get around the table pretty comfortably. Most, depending on how big you are, I guess. But yeah, it's not very big.
What about your front porch?
Front porch. Uh, I would say is this size, maybe a little bit, smaller than this. I would say.
Do you wish it was a little bigger? Are you happy with the size? Or
So I think I mentioned to you that we have those two giant bushes that
right?
are on either side of the entryway there. And so I think once those get removed, then it'll probably open up the space and it won't feel so squished. But maybe it could be a little bit bigger, but I think once those bushes are removed, it would probably be okay.
Okay. So now before I introduce the actual prototype and the product to you, I just want to say that we're looking for honest feedback and for you to just kind of think out loud while you're interacting with it, and don't worry about hurting my feelings. I did not design it, so um, whatever comes to mind, just speak your mind.
Okay.
And there are no right or wrong answers, so don't feel like I'm fishing for anything. I just want to kind of know your thoughts so we can improve on it.
Okay.
So this is actually the product right here.
Okay.
And before we get started, I want you to imagine that you're shopping at Lowe's and you see this on the shelf. And just let me know your initial thoughts and reactions seeing this.
So I like the color. I had mentioned to you before that I think color is important to me because it has to match my living space outside. So I like the color, and I like that it's small, and that I think it would fit well in a small space, which I don't know. I think I had mentioned to you that we have that giant table now, and I would like something a little bit smaller. So, I mean, I think if I saw this, I think it would be the size that I would want just for relaxing and sitting outside, kind of like, how you have it set up here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, go ahead and like interact with it. Just touch it, kind of mess with it, and just think out loud as you do so. You want me to hold your little pooch?
He's probably okay. So I think it's sturdy enough that I would feel comfortable putting my drinks on it. Because I already did have my drink on it before I realized this is what we're going to look at. So, and I think that it's good quality. There aren't any like holes in the wicker. So usually with wicker, it's important to, for me, to feel like you're safe, that you're not gonna like fall through it.
Yeah.
Or. So, and I think it's nice to look at. So I think it would be nice to have. Oh, it opens.
Yep. Go ahead and open it.
Oh. Oh, it has a box in there.
Oops, I totally forgot. As you can see, there's a
There's
lock
a lock
there. I
Ah.
totally forgot to grab the key. Let me just grab that real fast. But
Okay.
feel free to keep messing with it.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I noticed the first thing you grabbed was the handles, the ropes right there. What are your thoughts on those?
Oh, I think that I thought that that would be the way that it opened, but it didn't. Maybe because we need the key.
It might have helped, yeah.
Okay, so then, oh yeah. So yeah, I grabbed those ropes because I thought that would be how you're opening it.
You look. Sorry, go ahead.
So I think that this is a good. I think this is a good idea to have storage in there. I don't know. I haven't really shopped for furniture so much, so I guess I didn't really know that any of these opened. I don't think I've ever seen one that actually opened. So I don't know, maybe I just haven't been shopping very much for this kind of furniture, but I think that that's a good idea. I might say that when you pull the ropes, it might be nice if this part down here also has hinges
Hinges.
so that you can just open it instead of take the whole thing off. So one of the things for me, so I have lots of um, cabinets in my house that hide things like laundry hampers, the little trash can cabinets I mentioned before. And so one of the things that really, really bothers me is if you lift up something or you open something to put something in and it doesn't stay open or it falls back down when you're trying to put stuff in. So that would be um, like I would just want to open it and not have to totally remove the lid to prevent it from falling on me when I'm trying to put stuff in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But um, I think that it's a nice size and it's very sturdy, and I can tell that it won't. If it had hinges, I could tell that it wouldn't fall on me. Um, Depending on what you would store in here, maybe some waterproofing might be a good idea.
Waterproofing? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if something could get in there, but like if you were going to store like the cushions I mentioned before, the cushions that I use for my furniture, if I was going to store those in there, to me, the whole point of storing them would be to prevent them from getting wet. Otherwise, I would just leave them out in the open.
Right.
So to me, I feel like putting something like somehow weatherproofing it would be
Yeah.
good, depending on what you were putting in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea of having tables with storage. I'm a huge fan of, like I told you, I have like my hampers look like bookshelf cabinets. My trash can cabinets just look like regular cabinets, and you just open them. I like the idea of being able to store things in other things.
Yeah, me
So
too.
I would definitely buy this or something similar because I like to I like to have hidden places to put things.
Right. So, what do you think about like the lock? If you just want to interact with the lock a little bit more, like, is there anything you really like about it? Anything you don't like about the locking mechanism?
Um, sorry, Benji. Um, I think that it's fine. It's just a normal lock. It doesn't seem to be, super difficult. Um, the key goes in there well. I mean, it opens well. It turns well. It's easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's totally fine. If I was gonna have like a setup of furniture like this on my porch, and we were sitting out there, I think it would be a good place to put like those textbooks or something, that I mentioned in case somebody wanted to come pick it up, or
Mm-hmm.
if I had to leave something for somebody and couldn't drop it off myself, or our schedules didn't line up where I was going to be home, or I think it would be a good idea. And then I guess just leave the key, tell them it's under in X place. So you can find the key and then, just have them leave it in the lock then, so then I don't have to find it afterwards.
Do you think having like a traditional lock and key kind of adds like that extra step of like hiding the key and makes it a little bit of a pain?
Uh, no, I think it would add peace of mind for me because I don't know. I don't think it would be too hard to hide the key.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously I wouldn't want whoever came to get what was in the box to accidentally take the key with them, but I suppose I don't think that would be a really big concern, really.
Okay.
I don't think it'd be a big deal just to hide the key,
Yeah.
and I don't think too many people would probably be, looking for the key or anything. I don't know. I think I would feel safe just to be able to say the key is in such and such place. I don't think it would add very much time.
Okay.
I think it would be fine.
And now you commented on like this is kind of like a smaller setup in regards to like the size of the box. If you were to store packages in here, what are your thoughts on the size of it?
So for me, most of my packages would fit in there. Um, so, and I think for my front porch, it would, this kind of size would be good because my porch isn't super giant. So, for my packages, I think that it would be well, it would be
Okay. And
good. I
that kind
think
of
it's a good size. I think even maybe it could be smaller even. I mean, my packages just aren't that big, but I think would be a nice size for me.
okay. And now I know you mentioned before that pre-pandemic you used to leave the packages out on your porch for a little bit. If you were to imagine having this collecting your packages, would how often would you empty out the box now that you know it's in a secure area?
Um, I think that it would hold the packages for a couple days, which is we usually at least try to leave them outside for 24 hours usually. Sometimes they've been left out there for way longer. So, um, I think for me, based on what I order, it would be able to hold several days worth of packages.
Okay. So if you were to see this on your porch, just shoot out your likes, dislikes about this.
Well, I think it's a nice looking piece. Um, I like that it's square because I like things to be square or, rectangle. I don't like oddly shaped things, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I like that it's symmetrical and I like that, it seems to have like a flow about it. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's uniform all the way around. It's uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. And I like the color because our house has brown trim. So the color would be nice for me. Um, and I like that the inside box matches the color because you can see, I'm not sure if it's like that on the other side. Oh, yeah, this area here where the lattice is more thin. So I
Yeah.
like that the box on the inside matches the color because then you feel like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, because if the box was black or white or something, that would just be ridiculous. So, I like that the color of the box inside matches. And then I feel like when I first saw it, I didn't even realize there was a box in there. So, I like that it wasn't obvious that there was something in the furniture. I feel like the top, is pretty even. Like I told you, I didn't realize that it even opened.
Yeah.
So I think that I like that, especially if you're trying to use it either for storage or, for some sort of secure way to transfer packages. I think I like that it's not obvious to me that it opened on the top.
Yeah. I did notice when before I introduced the product, we had our coffees on the table, and then we had to like take them off, and now our coffees are like on the floor to be able to open the package. Do you see that as an issue? I noticed that was something we had to do.
Um, So think think if I was going to take the packages in or out, I would probably do so like that would be a task in itself. Like if I was just going to come out here and I was going to sit and drink coffee and relax, I would just leave my coffee on there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. To me, I didn't think that that's a big deal because I think they're two separate tasks. If you're coming out to get the packages out, you wouldn't put your coffee there first. I
Right.
wouldn't think. So I feel like they're two separate tasks. Like, are you using it for a table or are you getting the packages out?
Yeah, I understand that. To rephrase the question, I guess. So we're talking a lot about how it could be used to hold packages. Do you see you're using this to store other items?
Um, well, I think if it was outside, like, and I was using it as patio furniture, I could probably find some things to put in there, like, um, at the end of the season when you don't have plants in your pots anymore, it might be a good place for the pots or potting soil or stuff like that. I think. I mean, I feel like if I have something that I can use for storage, I will always find something to put in it.
Okay. So,
But I think maybe I would add if I was going to use this for packages on the front porch, say for the Amazon driver or for my friends to pick up books or somehow exchange things, I probably would not put stuff on the top of it that would cause them inconvenience to have to move the stuff. I
yeah.
mean, maybe not for my friends. I probably wouldn't care. But if I'm routinely having the Amazon guy come, I wouldn't put like a bunch of flower pots or something on there that he would have to move to be able to put the packages in.
Hmm. That makes me think of another question. Do you have experience with giving your delivery driver instructions for where or how to deliver your packages?
No.
Do you see any potential issues with delivery drivers dropping stuff off and this kind of?
So I have, like a while ago, I worked for an engineering firm and we worked in their home. And we had things like computers and hard drives and all of these things delivered to the house because we worked in their home. And we had a box just for the delivery people, and they would put the items in the box.
Okay.
And so, business wise, I did, you know, the drivers were given instructions to please put them in the box and lock the cabinet and put the key in X place. And so, I mean, I do have experience with that way. It wasn't like furniture types looking stuff, so it was very obvious that it was a package delivery place
Mm-hmm.
for people to put stuff. But you know, I do have that experience, and to my knowledge, the delivery drivers never had an issue putting the stuff in there.
Okay.
I mean, we always got our deliveries on time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little bit nice because they never had to ring the doorbell or, you know, anything. They just put the stuff in
Mm-hmm.
there.
So, if you wouldn't mind, like, I know you were like tugging at it and touching it. Tell me like your thoughts on the structure of the box.
I think that it's good. It's heavyweight. It seems very sturdy. Like I said, I think if I was gonna put stuff in there for, you know, safekeeping for like end of the season stuff, I maybe would want a waterproof box, and I would want the lid to have hinges so that it would stay open, and
Yeah.
I didn't have to take the box off or worry about it, you know, closing on me.
Mm-hmm.
But the structure of the box, I think it fits in this table nicely. I don't feel like it doesn't belong there. To me, it feels like it belongs there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I like it. It feels sturdy.
So more specifically, this may sound like a crazy question, but like with regards to like porch theft, do you see someone easily just coming up and like snatching the whole table?
Oh, I didn't. I honestly didn't even think of that. Um, I mean, I guess they could. Um, I don't know. I think thieves these days sometimes we don't know what they're thinking. But I definitely don't think it would be like super convenient. I mean, the size of the table is such that I think you would have to have a big enough car or truck. I mean, I don't think it's heavy enough that someone couldn't lift it. I think they could lift it, but do I think someone would just steal your patio table? I don't think so. I mean, I personally wouldn't worry about having the table stolen.
Okay. I know it's a weird question. It's one of the things they wanted me to kind of get some info on.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't worry about having the table stolen, but I suppose if they knew there were packages in there or something, I mean, could someone steal it? Yeah, probably,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not something I would worry about. I don't
So now one of my last questions: how would you decide whether or not you want to purchase this? If you saw this on the shelf at Lowe's,
think.
how would you decide?
Well, I think I would definitely purchase it just because I like to have things to store things in.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I would be concerned with this particular material. I would be concerned about leaving it outside all the time. Um, just because I don't know that much about wicker, like, does it get, if it snows and stuff on it, will it get damaged? Um, I mean, I think that it's beautiful and I would like, I would want it. I guess for me, this particular table, I just don't know what happens to wicker if you leave it outside. And that would be like, I would want to find out that to make sure that it wouldn't get ruined. And if it does get ruined, the cost would have to be a the cost would have to be such that I would feel okay if I had to replace it on an annual or a seasonal thing or every 2 years or 3 years. I mean, is the
Mm-hmm.
cost to me is the cost worth having to replace it if I have to.
Okay.
And that was one, and I only mean that because this is the wicker. I think if it was a metal type table with the box still in it, I probably wouldn't have that same concern.
So if it's in relation to price, if you didn't have those concerns about the durability and how long it would last, like what thoughts go into your mind when looking about at price?
So if I had to replace it on an annual basis, I probably would want it to be like um, 500 or less. I would think
Okay.
for me. Um, if it, if like I could put some kind of material on it to help weatherproof it and it lasted a long time. I mean, just for the table, are we talking about just for the table or like a whole set that includes the table?
You could do both.
So if I was going to buy a whole set, I think I would still want it to be under 2000,
Mm-hmm.
the whole set. And then just the table, I would think if I had to replace it under 500. I mean, I wouldn't want to buy $2,000 worth of patio furniture every year.
No, that's a big
So,
expense.
so wicker would be potentially a deterrent for me, unless there was some kind of way that I could safeguard it against the weather, especially if I was going to use it to store.
Okay. All right. Now to finish our interview, I just kind of want to summarize and recap um, everything. Make sure that we're on the same page and what I got from you is correct. So your buying habits, you purchase mostly from Amazon and you get several packages a week.
I do.
And they're mostly like smaller items from my understanding if they be able to fit in here. And you do have, even though you haven't experienced porch theft yourself, you do know, like you mentioned, you've heard it on the Nextdoor app. Is the Nextdoor app like the? I've never been on that app, but I assume it's like your surrounding neighborhoods.
Yeah,
they've experienced it.
Uh-huh.
How often would you say that's they experience it?
I would say there's at least one post daily.
One posting
About people saying that, you know, and lots of times they even have video of the person that ran onto their porch and got their package.
Oh wow.
Or if it's not directly theft, then there's people warning other people daily about, I saw this kind of car driving behind the Amazon van, or
So even though you've never experienced it yourself, you still kind of have that heightened concern about leaving items out on your porch.
I mean, I feel like even with the video, so lots of people have the video doorbells and stuff now.
Yeah.
Even though it videos the person taking your package, I'm not sure how often they really get caught. And the bottom line is you're still missing your package. And so while that might be a deterrent in itself, I'm not sure it deters everyone. And I would still like to have my
package. Yeah. So, and kind of what's important to you is you sound like you place a lot of importance on the aesthetic. You mentioned you want things to match and kind of follow a similar pattern. And it sounds like to you when it comes to the actual price of purchasing things, you associate price with like the durability of the material. It sounds like. Is that correct?
I would agree with that. I think that, you know, if I'm going to pay a lot for something but it lasts forever, then that's, you know, that makes sense to me. But if I'm going to pay a lot for something that I have to replace next season, that doesn't make so much sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then for the product itself, you liked that the color of the box inside the box matches, so it's not obvious that there's something in there. You weren't a huge fan of it not having hinges. You didn't really like that the whole lid came off.
So I will say that I like that the box inside the box the lid is independent of the table lid. I do like that.
Okay.
And the table lid does have hinges and it stays up. So just the inside box, I feel like, should also have.
Okay, I didn't think of that. So why do you like it that the outside box comes up and then there's like a separate lid for the box within the box?
Well, I like it because it covers the whole box and then it isn't so obvious that there's something in there. Because I'm assuming if this lid was the actual lid to the box, then the keyhole or something would have to be there. So I like that, you know, it's independent just because then you don't know that there's something in there. So it's not obvious that it's a storage like cabinet. It's more hidden.
So I would say you place like some importance on the disguising factor of the porch furniture.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the same thing, like I mentioned a couple times, my laundry hampers and my trash bins, they look like cabinets. And so to me, I appreciate that you don't automatically think, oh, that's where the trash is.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I like, that first and foremost, you think this is a table. And then the fact that you can store things in it is an added benefit.
Yeah, I'll have to look into those trash cans. Those sound really nice. So, um, I think we recapped everything. I think I got a pretty good understanding of your buying habits and what's important to you when it comes to purchasing. Um, is there any final thoughts you have or anything that's come to mind that you feel like I should know?
I would just say, going back to when I told you I worked for that company where we worked out of their house, their box on the porch was very obviously a box that you would put things in. So for me, and you probably already know this because I use the example of the clothing hampers and the trash cans a lot. I like for things to look like they are something else,
Mm-hmm.
and I like them to be functional. So if this was just a box sitting here, we wouldn't put our coffee on it. I mean, I like that it looks like a table and that it has the added benefit of having storage inside. But first and foremost, you can put things on it, you can decorate it, it looks like a table.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to lead you anywhere, but you made the comment that at your work, that lockbox was very obvious to the delivery driver. Do you think if you were to give instructions to the delivery driver, since it is so disguised, that he would maybe just ignore your instructions about potentially putting this in here?
Uh, so I don't always think that people are their very best every day. And I hate to be, kind of Debbie Downer, but sometimes I think that people maybe do their job a little bit lazily. And so, do I think that's a possibility? Yes. I mean, honestly, anything that takes extra effort sometimes on the part of a worker is an issue. But, um, I mean, I don't feel like lifting the lid is any. I mean, like I said, when we had the packages at the other place, they they did it every time they delivered something. They put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like. I think if you wrote just instructions on there that the table is the place where you put the packages, I think it would be okay.
Yeah. They got the deliveries from Amazon as well.
Um, yes, and USPS and other courier services that are less known, like I think DHL, I
Okay.
think, stuff like that.
And do you think all the drivers responded to the instructions correctly? I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean they never left a package outside of the box,
Okay.
never, unless we just happened to be outside and they gave it to us. But they always left it in the box.
Okay. And you said it came with like a lock, right?
Uh huh.
And so you had to instruct them to like I assume you left the key out for them,
Yeah.
and they used that. They didn't seem to have a problem with the traditional lock and key.
Nope. They used it every time.
Okay. How often did you guys get?
Um, I would say for sure at least twice a week.
Okay. Okie dokie. Well, I think I got all my everything I needed from you. Thank you so much for your time and your feedback.
You're welcome.
The team's gonna really appreciate it because really they're just trying to focus on, some things they're not thinking of that the customer would really value, or they're putting too much work in things that the customer may not value at all. So we're really just trying to make a better product for the market. So we really appreciate your time and your
You're
feedback.
welcome.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Oh, stop the video.